After earning byes through the NFL's wild card round of playoffs, the two top-seeded teams have now been eliminated. So joining us to talk a little bit more about the playoffs is our sports reporter, Evan Kenny. Evan, it's great to have you here. So first of all, like I mentioned, the Titans and the Packers both have been eliminated. Which surprised you more?
Yeah, Jace, pleasure to be joining after an exciting weekend of football. Now, just talking about
Yep.
these two top teams, I think we all sort of knew going into the 49ers Green Bay Packers game, the 49ers defense always comes to play. We didn't know that their special teams would be quite so good. So I guess that's not quite as surprising of a game, but the 19-16 win for the Cincinnati Bengals, in my opinion, is a little more surprising of an upset. Specifically because, Jace, the Tennessee Titans did a fantastic job of getting through and getting to Joe Burrow. He was sacked for a playoff tying record 9 times during that game. However, he was able to just shrug those off and sort of regroup, reset himself. He still threw for almost 75% completion rating, 28 for 37 and 348 yards, obviously, to lead his team to the win. So I think just being able to come back and persevere through all those hits, the Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals definitely surprised me more.
Now, as we compare things to the wild card round, there's a lot of blowouts, some lopsided games. This week, things were a lot different. We had some really good football, really exciting. So all 4 games finished 1 score apart, including one game that needed overtime. That was a game between the Bills and Kansas City. Now, great game, great ending, but you didn't like exactly how this game ended. Kind of take us through that.
No, Jace, I have no issues with exactly the outcome of the game, as in the Kansas City Chiefs winning. Obviously, they had to grind back right at the end of the game and put their blood, sweat, and tears into that final
Crazy.
handful of seconds just to push it to overtime. However, the part that I have a problem with, Jace, is just how the NFL has their overtime situation. It's really the only major sport where both teams don't even have the opportunity to touch the ball or to have possession of the ball. It's almost not decided off of the coin toss, but the coin toss plays a lot bigger role than, in my opinion, it should. For me, this is like as if in the NHL, if you had a shootout, but only one team was allowed to try and shoot and the other team just had to try to save it. Or in the MLB, if you went to extra innings and only one team got at bats. Jace, even other football leagues within North America, the CFL or the NCAA, both give chances to both teams to try and score in the overtime. So I guess my issue is not necessarily that the Kansas City Chiefs did win in overtime. I guess just the fact that it did go to overtime and this setup for the NFL is definitely not my favorite.
You're not mad they won, you're mad kind of how they won. Honestly, I'm with you there, Evan. There's no other sport that you see it like this. You want to see both offenses have a chance to score. Sadly, this time we didn't. Still a great game, but definitely I think that's something the NFL needs to look at. Will they end up doing it? Probably not, but we can still complain about it. Now that we know what's going to happen, we know our matchups going into next week, let's hear some predictions. So we obviously are going to have Kansas City going up against Cincinnati, and then the Rams against the Niners. Who do you got for both games?
Well, Jace, my Super Bowl pick at the beginning of the NFL playoffs was the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're still around here. Like you mentioned, they're going to be taking on the Bengals in the AFC Championship game. I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they are just filled with stars. It's star-studded from the top to the bottom. And obviously, they can do what it takes to win, as we just saw, in that overtime victory over the Bills. If you are a Bengals fan, though, maybe this is good news. I haven't chosen them to win a single game of these playoffs thus far, and obviously they're still here to tell the tale of the playoffs. So maybe I'm just a good luck for them by not choosing them. I guess that would be the way you would put it, but maybe that is the plus side for the Bengals in me not choosing them. Regardless, I'm choosing the Chiefs to be AFC champions. Now in the NFC, this is obviously such a close game. I mean, you look at these two teams obviously being in the same division. They play each other a lot, and they know each other very, very well. The San Francisco 49ers have had the numbers of the LA Rams, not just this season, but for the last number of seasons. The Rams haven't been able to beat the 49ers since 2018, so that is 6 straight victories for San Francisco. For me, Jace, this game really comes down to the matchup of Jalen Ramsey and Deebo Samuel. Obviously, one of them being one of the best cornerbacks in the league, and Deebo Samuel being the stud receiver for the 49ers. A lot of the offense and a lot of the big play offense is created through him. So, in my mind, whoever can win that matchup really will win the game for their team. I am going to be going with the LA Rams as the NFC champions. Jace, I know that I said that they haven't won against the 49ers in a while, but you just look at that roster, star-studded from the top to the bottom, both the offense and the defense. It is hard to choose against, so for that reason, I'm going to go with the Rams.
All right, we got your picks down, and now all this is going to be taking place on Sunday. So the first game is going to be the Bengals and the Chiefs. That's taking place at 3 o'clock, and then the 49ers and Rams are going to be playing at 6:30. All of it comes down to this Sunday, so we'll see what happens. Evan, thanks for taking some time to talk with us today.
Yeah, thank you, Jace.